On this continent, there existed a treasure coveted by everyone, the Dragon Star. Yet it belonged exclusively to a single family known as the Ragna family. The reason was simple. The blood of dragons flowed through their veins. Because of this bloodline, every member of the Ragna family possessed extraordinary physical abilities and awakened the power of the Dragon Star. As a result, they were born with unparalleled talent in magic, physical combat, and swordsmanship. They were considered the strongest lineage on the continent. But ironically, I, the heir to the Ragna family, was the only exception. I never awakened a Dragon Star. To everyone else, I was nothing more than a disappointment. The shame of the family. What I didn't know was that this had never been an accident. The man who had taught me swordsmanship for 20 years, my trusted mentor, was responsible for everything. Now, as the Rose Palace burned to the ground around us, my master, Lan Deng, finally discarded his mask of kindness. The flames reflected in his eyes as he looked down at me with mockery. A cruel smile spread across his face. The title, Ragna Trash, really suits you, young Master Tyr. Your talent was pathetic enough already. But after all these years, you never once questioned whether there was something wrong with the swordsmanship I taught you. His laughter echoed through the ruins, and in that moment, I finally realized the person I had trusted most for 20 years had been my greatest enemy all along. Hearing his words, I was so furious I could barely breathe. The truth finally became clear. So from the very beginning, you approached me pretending to be loyal and honest. You deliberately stayed by my side for 20 years. Just so you could turn me into a complete failure. Just so you could betray the Rose Palace and sell it to our enemies. But before I could finish speaking, Lan Deng's expression turned cold. Apparently tired of listening to me, he casually swung his sword. Slash. A blinding pain exploded through my body. My arm fell to the ground. Blood sprayed across the ruins. Lan Deng calmly shook the blood from his blade and let out a disappointed sigh. Even now, young master, why do you still think this is all my fault? He slowly lowered his sword and looked at me with pity. In the Ragna family, strength is everything. The strong survive, the weak are discarded. That has always been the law of our clan. He took a few steps forward. If you had possessed the greatest talent on the continent, then no matter how poorly I taught you, you would still have been strong enough to protect the Rose Palace. His smile widened. You might even have been strong enough to protect your mother, the woman who spent years begging me to properly teach her son. My eyes widened. A cold sense of dread spread through my chest. Before I could react, Lan Deng snapped his fingers. His subordinates immediately dragged something forward and threw it onto the ground before me. My entire body froze. It was a corpse. Cold, lifeless, covered in blood. My mother. For a moment, the world seemed to stop. My thoughts went blank. I stared at her motionless body, unable to believe what I was seeing. The woman who had always protected me. The woman who had never once given up on me. Gone. I understood better than anyone that the Ragna family lived by a brutal creed. The strong ruled. The weak were crushed beneath their feet. Victory was justice. Defeat was a crime. That was the way our family had always operated. But no matter what rules the clan followed, no matter what excuses they used, there was one thing I would never forgive. Anyone who harmed my mother would pay the price, even if it cost me my life. Just as I raised my sword and charged at Lan Deng, a blade shot through the air at incredible speed. Thrust. The sword pierced straight through my heart. My body froze. The strength drained from my limbs as blood poured from the wound. As my vision blurred, I noticed something strange. Lan Deng immediately lowered his head and respectfully greeted someone standing behind him. The sight told me everything I needed to know. That person was likely the true mastermind behind the rebellion, the one who had orchestrated everything from the shadows. As consciousness began slipping away, a single thought consumed me. Who was he? I desperately wanted to see his face. I wanted to know who had destroyed my family, who had taken my mother from me. But before I could get a clear look, darkness swallowed my vision. At the same time, deep within that darkness, a glowing panel suddenly appeared before me. It looked like some kind of status screen. Just as I tried to read the words displayed on it, a sword suddenly flew toward my eyes. Instinctively, I flinched, and when I opened my eyes again, I found myself staring at a familiar figure, Lan Deng, standing right in front of me, wearing the same gentle smile he always used. That concludes today's lesson. My mind went completely blank. What was going on? Hadn't I died? Was this what people meant by seeing their life flash before their eyes? If so, it was a cruel joke. Of all the memories to relive after death, why did it have to be Lan Deng? But before I could make sense of the situation, the glowing panel appeared again. This time, the text was much clearer. A tutorial quest had appeared. Objective: punch Lan Deng in the face. I blinked, then blinked again. After several careful tests, I made an important discovery. Lan Deng couldn't see the panel. Only I could. Slowly, I clenched my fist. I had no idea what was happening. Maybe this was a dream. Maybe it was some strange illusion. Or maybe a god had taken pity on me. Whatever the reason, if the heavens were giving me one final chance to properly thank the men who had ruined my life, then who was I to refuse? A grin spread across my face. Without hesitation, I swung my fist. Bam! My knuckles slammed directly into Lan Deng's face. And what shocked me most wasn't the punch itself. It was the sensation. The impact felt completely real, as if none of this was a dream at all. Before I could process what had just happened, Lan Deng's expression suddenly darkened. The killing intent in his eyes was unmistakable. In the next instant, his wooden practice sword slammed into my side. Bang! A sharp pain shot through my waist. Lan Deng lowered his weapon and frowned. Young master, I'm fairly certain I already told you. Today's lesson is over. His tone was calm, but there was irritation beneath it. I understand your frustration, but the truth is that you're running out of time. The awakening ceremony is approaching, and there's no way you'll achieve a breakthrough before then. He shook his head as if disappointed. Allow me to give you some advice. The Ragna family has never relied on fists in battle, and no respectable student uses his teacher as a tool to vent his anger. Around us, the other trainees immediately burst into laughter. The training grounds filled with mocking voices. That's why they call him Ragna's failure. He has no talent, so he blames his teacher instead. Another person sneered. Are we sure he's even part of the Ragna family? Maybe they found him in a trash heap somewhere. More laughter followed. Normally, those insults would have enraged me, but at that moment, something else captured my attention. The rough feeling of dirt beneath my feet. The sting of pain spreading through my side where Lan Deng had struck me. The warmth of the afternoon air. Everything felt too real. Far too real. A horrifying realization slowly formed in my mind. This wasn't a dying hallucination. This wasn't a final memory before death. I wasn't reliving the past. I had somehow returned to it. 10 years into the past. Back to when I was 17 years old. Back before the Rose Palace fell. Back before my mother died. Back before Lan Deng revealed his true face. My heart began pounding. If this was really the past, then everything could still be changed. Just then, the mysterious panel appeared once again. Its light shimmered before my eyes. New text slowly materialized across the screen. Tutorial mission complete. Reward available. I stared at the words in disbelief. Then another message appeared. Ragna talent activation reward ready. My breathing stopped. The very thing I had spent my entire life longing for. The talent that every member of the Ragna family possessed. The power I had never been able to awaken. It was finally within reach. A final prompt appeared on the screen. Would you like to claim your reward now? Yes. No. Without hesitation, my gaze locked onto the first option. Without a moment's hesitation, I selected yes. The instant I made my choice, a brilliant burst of multicolored light erupted from my chest. The glow radiated from the very center of my heart, flooding my body with warmth and power. I could feel something changing inside me, something awakening. The mysterious panel flickered once before displaying a new message. Reward successfully claimed. Ragna talent activated. From this moment forward, all of your attributes will increase at an extraordinary rate. I stared at the words in stunned silence. My pulse quickened. So this was real. Not a dream. Not an illusion. Somehow, I had awakened a system, the kind of cheat ability that only existed in fantasy novels. A system designed to make me stronger, much stronger. For the first time since returning to the past, a spark of hope ignited inside my chest. If everything the panel said was true, then perhaps I could change my fate. Perhaps I could save the Rose Palace, save my mother, and make every person responsible for my downfall pay the price. Still, there was one problem. No matter how incredible the system appeared, I had no way to prove it was real. Not yet. There was only one way to know for certain. Only after witnessing its effects with my own eyes. Only after testing its power would I know whether this miraculous second chance was truly real. Guys, I'm not in a mood to continue this video today. Let's meet in the next part. Stay tuned.